Part 2. For the discussion today, the topic will be on preparing visual icons for student responses during live online sessions. Before we begin, take note of the following reminders. Make sure you are registered to the webinar to have your e-certificate of participation. Visit certificate.vibalgroup.com to generate your proof of attendance. Place your questions on the comment box allotted during the session and they will be addressed by our speaker later on. Share the video using hashtag learnAsOnePH as our official hashtag to our VIBAL webinars. Experience learning. Ka-VIBAL? And now, to proceed with our webinar this afternoon, it is my pleasure to introduce to you our distinguished speaker today. He is a consultant and evaluator for K-12 Philippine Basic Education, the curriculum and academic consultant of Sisters of Mary. Ladies and gentlemen, let us all welcome Brother Roderick M. Aguirre.
Good afternoon, viewers out there. So welcome again to another week of learning with VIBAL, of course. And my hair is getting longer and it's getting curly and all. And I really badly need a haircut, but still I cannot because the salon and the barber shop that I usually frequently go to is still closed. And I only trust the person that takes care of my hair. Anyway, for this week and for today, I'll be talking about how we can come up with help our learners and teachers use iconic language, or in linguistics we call them as semiotics. But we're going to tone it down to just iconic visual language, as to help our students and our teachers alike be able to come up with a more interactive way, but a more direct way of communicating with our students via the modules and via online sessions that would stimulate the interest of our students. This is called the use of icons that I'll be discussing for about an hour and a half, and I'm aiming for being able to target an hour and a half presentation for this afternoon. So I hope you tune in, and if you have questions and comments, again, do not hesitate to key in your questions and clarifications on the comments box below. Anyway, I just got out from my sore throat and it turned out it was mumps. Enough about myself. So let me share to you my PowerPoint presentation. There you go. Okay, here you are. Okay, the title of my not. All right, let me check. Okay, I modified a little my title for this afternoon. I just wanted to be more comprehensive and not just target on the use of icons on online sessions, but I would like also to touch a little on how icons can be used on the preparation of modules and how we can help our learners be able to understand some of the pictures and the logos and the icons that we use in our modules. Also, I would like also to extend even more how we can use the iconic language to promote literacy among our learners, especially on the early grades, so that we can be more comprehensive of the use of the iconic language and not just see icons as something that interesting and something that it's more for fun and for social media use only. Would like us to note that the social media and the icons that we use in the social media in general are also friends, should be treated as like friends and tools for us to be able to make learning more comprehensible and more interesting to our students. And since our students are moving towards digital learning, so we might as well little by little migrate our way of presenting our materials, be it modular online session, to the use of icons, and that's what we're going to discuss today. I skipped out my slide. I opted not to use the one slide on my outline because I think you already know my flow of presentation. So by now, you know that I would always start with introduction, moving on to try this analysis, discussion, open forum, and finally towards giving you some conclusions and implications. So just, to cut some time for me to talk about the outline so that I can hit the 1.5 hour presentation for this afternoon. All right. So let's proceed to, since we're talking about icons, I was so interestingly was able to create my own icon, my Facebook Messenger icon. Uh, well, I don't know if it looks like me, but when I was making that, I was looking at myself in the mirror and I said, I have long hair and a little bit curly hair and I have glasses. I wasn't able to look for glasses black. And at that time, I had a stubble, a goatee, a stubble goatee. So I had to put myself there. Anyway, so all throughout this afternoon, I was able to use some of my avatar. And I'm encouraging also for teachers out there that you can also use your Facebook avatar as one of your icons in your online presentations. You can also use that in your modules. Like when you're giving instructions to your students, you can put your picture there, your avatar there in your module, and then your students will be able to say, so this is our teacher, and he kind of like look like that. Or if you don't like an avatar of your picture, you can use your own picture as part of the icons. I would encourage that, especially for students especially for this school year, that our students will not have enough face-to-face interaction with the teacher, so that they will know their teacher at least by face. And gradually be able to open up to the teacher. I might suggest that the pictures of the teachers be included in as an icon in the modules. But I think for the private schools that will be okay, but for the public school where we would like to have a perpetual use of the module, and since the modules may be used by other teachers, so it's kind of difficult for us to do that. So I'm suggesting that instead of using that in a module for the public online sessions, you may want to use your messenger avatar in your online sessions, just like what I'm doing right now. So what I did is I modeled to you that it can be used. Okay, so I just identified three most common myths and misconceptions about social media and its use on education, and that's what we're going to discuss today, that we can use social media and the icons that are used in social media can be used as part of our teaching and learning interaction with our students. And let's begin with statement number one. Statement number one says that social media is for entertainment only. A lot of teachers, well, actually, I got this from parents when I did my orientation with parents, and a lot of parents would like that the schools would not use social media, since a lot of students are already hooked up with social media, especially in the urban areas. Those families who have access to gadgets that lessen the use of social media so that the students can focus more on content learning. I totally disagree. Since our students are quite interested, motivated to use and learn from and interact with other people, even with students and even with people who are strangers by social media, it is best that we use social media to its ethical use. And the best way we can do that is integrate social media and its several platforms in our learning. And by that, we will be able to somehow help our learners be more mindful and be more careful and ethical in the use of the social media. What happened is that our students are the ones just exploring the social media with minimal supervision from the parents. And since this is part of the reality of our students, and this is the part of society moving into, and I think it's part of the responsibility of the school to integrate social media as one of the platforms for the learning outcomes of our students. A lot of books, a lot of textbooks, a lot of modules, like here in VIBAL, we have a lot of suggestions for teachers to use social media platforms for the learning outcomes and tasks of our students. And that way we are able to make our students see that social media is not only for entertainment, but also for learning and for education. All right. Therefore, statement number one, which is social media is for entertainment only, we say together, busted it. Right now, although it was originally created for entertainment, for socialization, for dating, and all other purposes aside from education, but right now we are now seeing the huge amount of influence of social media to our students, and therefore influence also to teachers in order to migrate, migrate and improve teaching and learning process via the use of social media. I'm still having problems with my throat, although I don't have sore throat anymore. But since I wasn't able to talk much since Friday until Sunday, so it's kind of difficult for me to speak again in English. So it takes a lot of time. I did practice for 15 minutes, but I did not try to exhaust myself. Reason being is that I may be exhausted from my practice and won't be able to talk well while delivering my goods. So apologize if I keep on biting my tongue every now and then. I keep on rolling some of the words. So I'll try to slow down so that I don't eat up my words so that I will be more comprehensible too. So let's proceed to statement number two. Statement number two says social media increases off-task behavior, meaning that it distracts individuals from the actual work. It distracts students from doing what is necessary and what should be prioritized, and it distracts students from actual learning of the subject areas and the lessons. I totally disagree with this because if we try to do with our should try to do as I have explained in busting statement of the number one, that if we integrate in our lessons in our curriculum, not necessarily curriculum per se, but in our lessons and extending our lessons to social media use, then our students will be able to see that uh, they can do their learning and use of the social media platforms at the same time. That's exactly what we're doing here at VIBAL. We are modeling to our students, our teachers, how we can mitigate the use of social media. Like we use social media like the Facebook, we can use that for learning. The YouTube can be used for learning. I know that a lot of students out there have idols on YouTube that they follow for entertainment, and that's why since they initially were introduced to YouTube for entertainment purposes, it's kind of difficult for them to see YouTube and Facebook as something that can be used for education. But it is our responsibility as teachers and educators to help our students see that there are other uses of social media like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, other than just socialization, personal use, but it could also be used to hone our skills, not just in the language skills, but all other skills like mathematical skills, science skills, and many more. That we can say that if we could just integrate the use of social media right now, we don't have any choice but to use social media. And I think that's one good thing about the pandemic. I'm not condoning pandemic, but since we are now in the pandemic, I think one thing that is positive about we're learning from what we are experiencing with pandemic changes in our educational system is that we are now forced to accept that social media is our partner. Social media and its platforms are our partners, and then we can use that with utmost to help our learners continue the learning. To be honest, I was one of those teachers who would stop my students and would remind my students um, the bad effects of social media and the cognitive effects, because there were a lot of researches done by Harvard University and Stanford University about the ill effects of too much use of Instagram, too much use of Facebook, and too much use of other social media on the literacy skills of the students, and they were so adverse that I was able to convince myself by this result of research that it does not have any positive effect. But as I was using social media, because again, we don't have any choice anymore but to use, the platforms of Facebook, the platforms of IG, get to realize that they are powerful tools for us to educate our students, and it makes, our job more, our materials more interactive to our students and more interesting. And then by that, I realized that no wonder a lot of our students right now in the 21st century are seeing the teachers like myself before the 21st century. I'm not going to say what century I was born. Um, See us as people who have been were not able to adopt to the changes. So right now, I think it's one thing that we need to get to abreast with and be trained on. So statement number one: social media encourages off-task behavior. Before, yes, but now, because it's now part of our educational system and how we're going to help our students, transfer their skills to the social media, and there's no other way because there's no face-to-face, but via the use of social media, then we can say now that it is a myth. Statement number two is busted. Right now, it becomes more of a partner and helps our students to focus more on the tests. Okay. And finally, statement number three is you don't need to learn about social media in schools. I got this statement from some a lot of parents saying that uh, you can learn social media in outside the school. A lot of parents are already allowing their kids at a very young age to have their own Facebook account and have even their the use I'm able to use and access a lot of applications. I hope it's gender sensitive and at the same time age appropriate, but of course we wouldn't know. But the point there is that if parents are already introducing their kids to this type of social platforms, social media platforms, and not just news, there's possibility of trolling, phishing, and also the possibility of cyberbullying, and the possibility that our students will be, could be, virtual victims of people's misuse of the social media. And I hope that this statement, we don't need to learn about social media in schools. Yes, I do agree with that, but we can help our students refine their content of their social media. So therefore, there's no need to learn social media in schools, yes, but we can use the social media so that students can upload the things that they or you transfer what they have learned from the content areas, from the subject areas, the skills and the ethics, the values that they learn from school from the school, and be able to refine their use of the social media and and cyberbullying. I believe that bullying was just transferred to another platform. So if our students have been bullies in person, they would still be bullies when they go when they use it on social media platforms. So I think it's not the social media that makes a person bad. It's the person per se. So if you want to change how people use the social media, then we have to help students change. So schools are there to help our students learn, and via learning, our students will also change their behavior towards the use of or towards the ill use of social media, and probably become catalysts of change to making other people who are using social media in a bad way, educate them that it can be used in a better way to, help other people, educate other people, to inform other people. On that, statement number three is busted. All right, so we have the three statements, and we're going to discuss all of this, how we can help our students use the social media via the iconic language, improve their ethical use of social media, but at the same time, have one language that students and teachers will understand together. Because there's no point of using social media if, say, our teachers are not using a more common icons that students are commonly using social media, or if the icons that the teachers are using, but we're not not thoroughly explained to the students the meanings of these icons, then I would say that there would be miscomprehension and misunderstanding between and among students and among teachers as well, right? So let's proceed to analyzing this. So I just got some social media posts I tried to protect the person's identity. I know that this is, against the data privacy law, but um, just want to show you some of these examples. But I protected the identity of the person though. All right. So this is an example. It's funny though, but I know that later on, if people get to see this, they're kind of bully the person. But it's so funny. Sabi dito, pre, pwede bang tulungan mo ko? Ano yun, pare? Magpo-post kasi ako, gusto ko English para social. Tama ka ng nilapitan, pare. Ano ba yun? Paka-English naman nito, pares. Paka-English naman nito para social post ko, pre. Sige, ano ba? Masakit yung ginawa mo sa akin, babe. Bakit mo ko pinalitan? Bakit mo ko pinalitan? Binasura mo na lang yung mga pinagdaanan natin. So that's what, the conversation is going on. And then ito yung translation na kanya kay babe, you ouch me. Why you exchange me? You garbage our way. Okay. Kung hindi ang English teachers at saka Filipino teachers ay hindi na lang puro paper pencil kind of writing, they could have transferred the teaching of grammar, teaching of composition, teaching of language learning in all other social media. I think we could have helped this kind of student or this individual to be able to express his thoughts in Filipino to the target language like the English. I think here we could say that education or the school failed the person in being able to use their language capacity and proficiency in another language and on a social media. Okay, let's have another one. Tinanggalan ko po ng family name. Honestly, before you talk about me, you need to look at yourself. P.S. Your outfit today was horrible. All right, and then emoticons, a heart, and then just look at them. Hours ago via Facebook for BlackBerry, and then six people like this, and then ito po ang sumagot. You before you post stupid things, talking shit on Facebook. Sorry for the word. You need to learn how to spell correction. Nag-correct pa siya, pero may mali din siya. It should have been, asterisk your, kasi gusto niya, your outfit today was horrible. So Amanda replied, lol. You know what? This is so funny to me. These are, what we call as chatting languages. I remember when I was teaching at PNU, let's not mention what year was that, but I was one of those professors who were against cell phones because I believe that it destroys the language, the writing skills of the students, especially their spelling. And then one time, sabi ko, kailangan na, naging necessity ng cell phone, so I had to buy my own cell phone. And I was introduced to the language of the Jejemon, ang tawag nun na Jejemon na language. And then one of my students, my grad student, okay, sa master's nun, tapos nag-report, basta nag-reply sa akin na lol, LOL. I think I was asking for the paper because I was checking already the final paper, concept paper. Then I think it's either I misplaced their concept paper or he was not able. Sorry, it was a she. She was not able to submit on time the concept paper, but I was confirming. And then she said that she submitted that and she gave it to my student assistant. So and meron siyang last na LOL. So akala ko nun, to be honest, this is with all honesty and my ignorance because I did not immerse myself to the language of social media and the language of the 21st century people. Akala ko yung lol ay ulol. Sorry. So nag-init ang tenga ko kasi nga sabi ko, ba't ako minumura ng estudyante ko? I'm doing all my best to educate them to become better teachers of reading and modeling to them how a better teacher could do. And then they would mumurahin na ako. Sabi ko ba naman nag-reply talaga. Kasi pag dati nag-text ako talagang whole word kahit gaano kahaba yan, At may bayad yun, di ba? Piso, something like that at the time. So, wala akong pakialam kung gaano kamahal. Nalalaman ko, naubos na lang yung load ko. Tapos ang sagot ko sa kanya ay, please, I do not appreciate swear words or curse words in face-to-face interaction and even on chats and messages like this. So please, kung mumurata sa Tagalog, kung mumurahin mo lang ako, pumunta ka ngayon sa school, punta ka sa office ko, and then sabihin mo sa akin harap-harapan yan. And then sumagot yung estudyante, sabi niya, sir, di naman kita minumura. Ano po yung sinabi ko po? Kasi nag-backread siguro siya. Sabi ko, minura mo ako, sabi mo lol. Tapos sabi niya, naku sir, hindi po yun ang ibig sabihin. Ang lol po, I laugh out loud. Nung ma-realize, sabi ko, I felt so stupid and I felt so embarrassed for reading pa man din ang tinuturo ko, and then I was not able to comprehend the language. Then I realized, sabi ko, huwag niyo kasing, yan ang problema kasi ng lahat ng mga gumagamit ng social media. They believe that all people are well-versed with the language of social media and the icons of the social media. That's what I'm going to discuss today. I was one of the victims of not being able to immerse myself to the language of social media. Marami nga nag-message sa akin na may mga emoticons pa. Sabi ko, ano bang ibig sabihin ng mga emoticons? I don't understand kasi nga wala akong alam pa sa mga emoticons, sa mga logos and icons. So eventually, I get to be, immersed in that. Kaya dito po, balikan po natin, nakalagay doon inverted face na nakasmile and then heart. So if you look at those statements, nagsasabi siya ng totoo. Honestly, before. So ganito, baka ang pagkabasa ni Jessica ganito, honestly, before you talk about me, you need to look at yourself. P.S. Your outfit today was horrible. Pero kasi nakalagay po doon, nakasmile siya at heart. So ibig sabihin, basahin na parang nagsasabi lang ng norm. So dapat hindi daw ganun pagkakabasa. So ganito daw, honestly, before you talk about me, you need to look at yourself. Yes, your outfit today was horrible. Smile. So I think people like the comment because of nagmamatch po yung emoticon po. Thrice the emoticon used by Amanda here softens the statement na medyo negative ang dating, pero it softens that. So pag mga readers daw tayo, iba na po ang reading sa online sa actual reading ng books. So tunuturuan po natin dapat ang mga bata ng visual literacy of the social and the visual language of social media, that it softens that. Ngayon, so sagot si your. So sabi naman ni Amanda, lol, oh sorry, let me correct myself. Your outfit was horrible. Does that make sense? Moron. So dito galit talaga si Amanda kasi nga, I think she was just being honest with the first statement. But here's what I want to say. These statements are not supposed to be made public because the problem with social media is that there'll be a lot of people who are not even concerned or are not supposed to know about all of these things that you are having argument with a friend and so on and so forth. I think this should be done in a face-to-face interaction and should be delivered directly. It could have been done in a private message, not on Facebook. So what's the purpose of kahit pa sabihin na sinoften mo with a heart and smile, what was your purpose of making that online and putting that online? It's, if not to embarrass also the person, then you want just to say your thoughts and for other people to know. The point there is that still there's still a negative effect, not just to Jessica, but also to yourself. Why? You put yourself out there, and therefore you are now open for criticism and trolling and bashing. So if you don't want that, then let's try to be more ethical in the use of our social platforms. Let's have another one. Ito, natatawa talaga ako. As I'm natatawa ko na naiinis ako sa mga tao. Okay? Sa mga tao look, mas swerte ka nga, sampal lang yon. Kundi papatayin talaga kita. Oh my gosh. Mga agaw ka, hayop ka. Galit na galit yung emoticon. Then observe, there are 34 who liked it and hated it and then smiled. And there were 49 comments. And this is what makes me hate the people. Sinare pa, may share pang isa. Talaga naman. And then nag-respond. Tapos ito pa, anong paki nyo kung sinampal ko siya? So kasi mga comments siguro ko siya. Eh kayo pag nagsiselos kayo, di ba? Di ba kayo nasasaktan? Okay, I cannot say that word. And then, yeah, that word. I think you can read that. Ito pa. Itong statement niya, there were 227 comments and then 23 shares. Sabi ko, oh my gosh, mali na nga ang ginawa ng babaeng to. Tapos nag-comment ka pa. Tapos shinare mo pa. So, this is what we call as patong-patong na mali ng gamit ng social media. Kung tinuruan lang natin sana ng ethical use of the social media, ethical use yung ginamit kung tinuro natin sa Araling Panlipunan, tinuro natin sana sa English Filipino, and all other subject area to use the platforms in a more ethical way, hindi sana mangyayari to. Kailan, this is what happens if we do not use the social media, the icons, mga to appropriately, then it would, destroy the credibility of another person. This could have stopped. My point is that this could have stopped, and the first time she said something, if no one just, bahala siya sa buhay niya. I'm not part of that. I should not say anything because I do not know what's happening. Pinalaki kasi ako ng parents ko at saka ng school namin na kung if you're not concerned, then don't say anything because you do not know the real story. Stories would always have two sides or multiple sides. So if you only heard one side, then you have you don't have a right to say something about the other party because you do not know yet that side of the story. Therefore, might as well just say nothing yet until everything has been revealed. And problema sa mga Pilipino because of the social media. Well, I think not just the Filipinos, but I think all over the world, there's a misuse of the social media because parang hindi nila maintindihan na nakakasakit na sila ng tao. Bakit? Hindi nila nakikita yung tao eh. Pero ikaw makareceive kayo ng mga ganitong statement, what would you feel? Diba? Ang sakit din. So, I think nawala yung empathy, nawala yung transfer ng katalinuhan ng ating estudyante sa social media. Well, not our just students, but basically all individuals. I'm also one way or the other, all of us have been victims of this kind of situation. I did, but then later on, na-realize ko, ba't ako masasaktan? Ba't ako mahirapan pa eh? Hayaan buhay niya yun. That happened to me when I presented a paper, when I was invited as one of the plenary resource speaker as a specialist in Singapore. And then I posted on my Facebook and on my Instagram, my presentations. And then there were foreigners, the white people, and even one Filipino who bashed me saying that you Filipinos come up with great curriculum, come up with great ideas, but your politics are so dirty that even if no matter how intelligent you are, you will not be economically great and progressive. Talagang tenga ko, sabi ko, nilahat pa ang buong Pilipinas, paper ko lang naman to, bakit sinama ang buong Pilipinas? At may Pilipino pang nag-comment, siguro sabi niya, this is not your idea, you did not even design this, I think you just copied this. Sabi ko, paano ako magkopya? Akong asang designer sa K-12, isa akong sa consultants ng K-12, so paano ako magkopya ng sarili ko? Sabi ko, binasa ba niya? So, di ko alam kung naiinggit lang, so, but the point there is that in my head, I wanted to respond back. But sabi ko, kung magre-respond back ako, di pareho lang kami ng level. So what I did is I just deleted the post. And kahit masakit sa damdamin, I just said, tanggapin ko na lang to. That was my fault because bakit ko ba nilagay sa Facebook? Bakit? Dahil nagmamarunong ako, nagmamagaling din ako. Pwedeng ganun din nangyari. So, I put myself in a very hot situation. So it was my fault to begin with. So, nagbigay ng mga comments sa mga to. So, they're open to their opinion, but it was my fault to begin with. Ako naglagay nun. So, tanggapin ko na lang yan. But a lot of people have not reached the level of reflection that situation or a situation happens and strings of events happen because of your actions and our decisions. So kahit anong nangyari dyan, kung nagsimula po pa sa atin, kung sa atin nagsimula yung mga strings of events na yun, then we have to go down to the idea that tayo may kasalanan nun. Pero dahil hindi nga natin tinuturoan mga bata, ikaw nag-post kahit anong sabihin nila, opinion nila yun, kasalanan mo, nag-post ka ng ganyan. Kung hindi ka nag-post sana ng ganyan, wala sana ng ganyan. Diba? Tinuturo yan sana sa comprehension of narrative text, major conflict. Define major conflict. If our students did not identify the major conflict, there would be no strings of events. Parang sa ganun sana. Anyway, let's proceed to my thoughts are running away so quickly. So let's have hindi ko sana masusunod ang aking time. Anyway, tas sumagot siya, oo, ako yung nanampal sa klase ko. I just wanna say, oh my gosh, look at these words. Kaklase pa nasa, wag niyong i-share mga, okay, so for me was such a waste of emotion, such a waste of intellect, such a waste of time, and such a waste of the use of social media. Anyway, yung bang sinasabi ko, sana lang, if we integrate iconic language, especially the iconic language is prevalent in social media, then we can help our learners use social media in a more ethical way. All right. So I would like us to read a published article by Nadine Barre-Maitland and Janice Lynch about the social media ethics and privacy paradox. Okay. So just let me read this to you aloud. You may want to visit this. She has a really good article about this. And this is what our context about our discussion, how the rest of the discussion for this afternoon. They said, it's Nadine and Janice, they said that the use of modern day technology has brought several benefits. Social media is no different, and chief amongst its benefit is the ability to stay connected easily and quickly, as well as build relationships with people with similar interests. As with all technology, there are several challenges that can make the use of social media off-putting and unpleasant. Some of these challenges appear to be minor, but they can have far-reaching effects into the lives of the users of social media, and it is therefore advised that care be taken to minimize the challenges associated with the use of social media. A major challenge with the use of social media is oversharing, because when persons that's against the privacy of the person too, and we need to seek permission kung mag-share po tayo ng post ng ibang tao to our post or to other social media platforms. We need to seek so kung ganun po, pwede po tayo kasuhan on that cyberbullying. All right. Media is oversharing because when persons share social media, they tend to share as much as is possible, which is often times too much. Okay? Ang dami, isang share. Ang dami makakita niyan. When persons are out and about doing exciting things, it is natural to want to share this with the world. Kung sana, ang sinishare ay makabuluhan, hindi yung mga walang kabuluhan, ibig sana maayos ang mundong to. Kaya lang what happened is that we share funny stories, we share ang mga Pilipino mahilig kasi sa ganyan, yung mga kalokohan, pero yung mga pang-education, wala nag-share. I don't understand why. That's why? Because nga ang tingin ng tao, tingin ng mga Pilipino sa social media is for entertainment. And if there are people who would go for education, na nagpo-post ng education, spiritual, sasabihin lang, jologs naman to. Dapat happy lang, chill lang sa social media. But eventually, education should change that perspective. Okay? Well, this all seems relatively harmless, but using location-based services which pinpoint users with surprise. Nako, sabi ko ako din dito. That's why I wanted this, because with surprising accuracy and real time, users place themselves in danger of laying out a pattern of movement that can be easily traced. I was in Albay, Legazpi City, and I didn't want some of my students before to know that I'm in Legazpi, because I wanted to focus more on my task. There was a seminar there, and I was only there for 3 days. Sa VIBAL din po yun. And then hindi ko pa alam, kasi I'm a late bloomer when it comes to technology. Hindi ko alam na ang Facebook pala mayroong location-based tracker. And then magja-jog ako. Tapos habang nagja-jog ako dun sa Embarcadero, alam nila meets yan. All of a sudden, merong, sir, nasa likod lang yung namin, kaya nakita po namin magja-jog kayo. Sabi ko, what the heck? Paano nila nalaman? Sir, kasi may naka-on po ang locator nyo, location-based nyo po sa Facebook. Kitang-kita po namin kayo. So, to cut it short, yung aking daily exercise ko noon, I used to exercise. I run every day. Dati. Ngayon, di na ako marang kasi nga natatakot ako sa labas. Anyway, I didn't realize that. So sabi ko, mabuti estudyante ko, paano kung mga stalker? Ay, that's true. A lot of students right now, especially yung mga senior high school right now, I don't know how their psyche, and some individuals are stalking people. And paano kung ang dami nare-rape? Ang daming nasasaktan, nabubugbog, mga kaaway because of that locator. So dapat alam po sana ng mga magulang na ito-turn off ang locator. Sana naturuan ako nun. Thank to my friend uh, Rona De Borja for teaching me how to make my Facebook more private. Okay. While this seems more like a security and privacy issue, it stems from an ethical dilemma. Am I sharing too much? We need to teach ourselves, am I responding? Am I giving my response, the right response to the other person? So ito yung sinasabi po natin, think before you click. Even if we taught our students this statement, this cliche, that think before you click, the thinking should be taught at school. The clicking may also be taught at school, that there are other ways to communicate to other people. It may not be words, it can be through icons. Nonetheless, it requires a lot of thinking, a lot of critical thinking for us to be able to communicate greatly and appropriately and effectively to other people via social media. Because isang icon lang ba, may misunderstand po tayo. Kagaya po nung meron po akong sa Facebook, marami may mga friends, may mga, well, meron akong natatanggap kasi na friends, kasi mga teachers nga naman sila, I don't know, other teachers. Tapos all of a sudden, nakikita ko na lahat ng mga Facebook posts ko, puro heart. Heart ba? Heart. Heart, puro heart. And then all of a sudden, nag-message siya. Sabi ko, okay. So, nag-message. Tapos yung pala, nagtatanong na ng mga personal questions like, sir, sigil pa po ba kayo? May plano ba kayo mag-asawa? So, at iba na po ito. So, it was my fault. I think because yung mga statements niya, nilalagyan ko ng heart kasi naglalagay siya ng heart, tapos maglalagay siya ng statement. Because ang nilalagay kong response sa kanya mga statements at sa kanya is heart as well. Akala niya, I'm open to whatever she was thinking about. So, ito po dapat ang tinuturo natin. Am I sharing too much? If I'm sharing this, would the person get the right interpretation of the message I would like to convey using the icons or using, combination of icons and words? Okay? So, oversharing can also lead to damage of user's reputation. See, mas importante yung user. Ikaw, unahin mo na sarili mo kasi you don't have any control of other people. Kahit pa naglagay ka, kaya nga, sometimes it's better not to comment or not to respond, even using icons, kasi hindi ka maintindihan ng ibang tao the way you wanted them to understand your message. So, oversharing can also lead to damage of user reputation, especially if the intent is to leverage the platform for business. O, ang daming gumaganyan. So, photos of drunken behavior, drug use, partying, or other inappropriate content can change how you are viewed by others. Ito po yung panahon ng 2012 na nagagawa kami ng K-12 curriculum sa DAP pa nun sa Tagaytay. And then, sorry, again, experience ko, masasabi ko kasi this is not a face-to-face interaction and I cannot call anyone from you out there, guys, to share your experience. It happened to me that we were given a week break. So, went home to Leyte. And then sa Leyte, yung mga kaibigan, kababata, kami, parang unwind lang. So, I was just drinking juice. Nag-inom sila ng Tanduay Ice. And then, nagka-picture-picturan. Tapos, nag-picture-picture yung mga kaibigan namin. Tapos, some of them were teachers as well. So, they wanted a picture of me na, kababata namin, kaibigan namin yan. Tapos, isa sa mga kasama sa K-12 writing, designing. So, it just so happened yung picture na yon, katabi ko, may hawak na Tanduay Ice, nakalagay sa harapan ko. And then, nakasando lang ako. So, I thought it was just a picture for themselves, not. But then later on, they posted that, kailan, nung makabalik na ako sa Maynila, hindi pa ako nakakabalik. The next day, may message sa akin si Dr., hindi ko na sabihin kung sino yun, basta kasama sa K-12 Secretariat. Sabi, Ricky, could you please untag yourself to that picture because It is not showing a good reputation of one of the writers of the K-12 curriculum. We have to protect our dignity and the dignity of the program that we are creating to the public, especially that there are a lot of teachers commenting about your picture. So tiningnan ko, sabi ko, wala akong pinupost. Ano ba yan? Yung pala, tinag ako ng mga kaibigan ko na nung picture nung gabi na nakasando lang ako tapos merong tadwayas with the idea na akong umiinom. So yun, photos of the drunk. We cannot control what other people would say and think about the pictures that we post. Those pictures becomes icons. Okay, they become icon because iconic language means there's the use of pictures, the use of logos that that could be interpreted in many ways. So we have to be careful. This article is really good way to open up our ideas to the ills and positive results of using the social media platform. And let's proceed. Another ethical challenge users of social media often encounter is that they have no way of authenticating content before sharing, which becomes problematic when the content paints people or establishments negatively, especially po yung sa Robinsons, yung may ahas. Tapos nag-circulate na no, dati sa amin, panahon namin, by word of mouth. Tapos ngayon sa social media pa. Si Alice Dixon pa noon, panahon na yun. I mean, I don't know. It's a way of marketing and branding for Robinsons, and then they get to have more customers. But nonetheless, it's something that cannot be verified. Another one po yung namatay yung nasagasaan daw si Robin Padilla nun. And people keep on sharing and sharing and sharing, and then they were already like grieving and preparing for his wakes. Tapos sabi ko, hindi man lang nila verify kung totoo ang information kasi nga dapat may research skills. Yun sinasabi natin na you do not accept information right there and then. So dapat tinuruan natin elementary pa lang na we do not accept information as it is. We need to research and we have to verify all of this information. Kung sinama lang sana ito, hindi lang yung experiment sa science, hindi lang po sana yung sa mathematics, hindi lang sa literature on books, but also asking our students that the information that they get on social media must also be verified. So this is one of the many ill effects of social media that we need to mitigate and integrate in our learning at school. The unauthenticated content is the reshared without any thought, but sometimes this content may have been maliciously altered so the user unknowingly participates in maligning others. Even if the content is not altered, the fact that the content paints someone or something in a bad light should send off warning bells as to whether or not it is right to share the content, which is the underlying principle of ethical behavior. It's not just us per se who create and use this kind of platforms and use this type of language, but also the idea that did we do something like share it? And if we shared it, are we partly to blame of such destruction of the dignity of other people? That's something that we need to teach our students. All right. So that's at least ngayon na-realize emotion na, oo nga no, dapat nga tinuturuan natin ng mga bata, hindi lang yung pagsusulat ng ng mga notebook, note-taking sa o kaya paggawa ng mga concept paper o kaya dapat i-extend pala natin sa social media. In fact, these are the realities that our students are faced with. So dapat doon natin. Exactly. Okay, that's what I wanted to realize. Okay, that especially with the pandemic, let's use the social media, and then on that, the social media uses a lot of iconic language and visual system that we must also make sure that our students understand the use of this, not just in terms of pictures, but also in terms of the meaning that they convey. So let's start with question number 1. My gosh, I'm just still on question number 1 and it's already almost 3 o'clock. So let's just go through with this. What is iconic language? So iconic language is like example. Iconic language is when you see a picture, or when you see a logo, or a combination of picture and words, you know exactly what it means. So when you see the picture, I'm not promoting any of this establishments. Just that these are most common icons in society that could be used by the school as a way of making people understand the powerful use of icons. Halimbawa, McDonald's. This is Wendy's, this is Jollibee, this is SM, this is Robinsons, and this is Chowking. Okay, so ito mga to utilizes all of, in fact, in advertisements, in branding in industries, we use logos and we use icons, and these are iconic language that help in the branding of the product and therefore convey such meaning to viewers. So kaya nga sinama po natin sa curriculum natin ang visual literacy. Another subject that's highly symbolic and highly iconic is mathematics. Mathematics is quite difficult for mathematics and science. Why is it difficult for some students? Not just because the content of mathematics, because of the language of the mathematics that's highly symbolic and iconic. A lot of students have difficulty memorizing some of the symbols, operational symbols of mathematics, to the point that they cannot understand the statements, like the summation of A, something like that. So ang nakalagay sa blackboard ay symbols ng summation. So maraming mga bata hindi nila alam yung sabihin nun. So a lot of mathematics teachers fail to teach our students the meanings of these icons. If you don't want the word icons, then let's just use the word symbols. Okay, so for layman's terms, symbols. So symbolic language. Okay. Another one is that these are symbols that are commonly used in all over the world to symbolize a certain nation, like the Philippines. This is the Philippines, this is Singapore, this is United States, and this is Malaysia. All right, that's Malaysia. So, ang dami pong, hindi lang po tayo gumagamit ng icons, logos, but we also use like flags to symbolize. May mga meaning yan. Yung mga yan, may mga meaning, ibig sabihin yan. So, hindi lang ginamitan ng words, pero by symbols, meaning is conveyed too. Yun po ang gusto natin sabihin sa mga bata. But they do not just take in symbols as it is, but there's a meaning behind symbols. All right? Another one, the public symbols and icons like, this is ano yan? Anong ibig sabihin yan? It's a common toilet. Pang lalaki at pang babae. Anong ibig sabihin yan? Akyat through the elevator, baba, and then we have the bus stop. We have pang babaeng toilet, ang lalaking toilet, magsa-separate na. And then we have going up and going down, arrow, and we have the taxi area. And then we have stairs going up, and we have stairs going down, and we have going up button, usually in elevators, and you have the going down button as an icon for elevators. The point here is that our students and our society have already or has already been using icons. And all the more that we use these icons, not just in the society, but also in social media, it's highly prolific of the use of this icon and symbols in the social media. And it's very, very timely that we teachers use the symbols and these icons to the use to our preparation of our materials. Okay. So, just having our answer for question number 1 was iconic language. It's a visual language is a set of iconic sentences constructed with given syntax and semantics. Syntactic analysis of visual language, spatial parsing, is the analysis of the spatial arrangement of icons like iconic sentence to determine the underlying syntactic structure. A good example would be this. Ito pong ginagamit natin na we are using visual language for posters. We're using visual language for pamphlets like this from the COVID. So, hindi na talaga siya wordy. Ito po nga ang sinasabi ko po dati sa mga teachers na on online learning and for distance education, it is very important for us to use a highly visual language and a highly direct kind of language. So instead of, kagaya ng libro natin dati na puro words, it should be, more compact and more direct to the point. Kung steps yan, direct to the steps and then pictures para may those students who have problems with visualizing the meaning of words, they will not be able to understand the meaning of the words, or if they do not understand the words, at least they will understand what you are trying to convey via the use of pictures and icons. So, kahit hindi nakakabasa ang bata dito, so alam na nila ang ibig sabihin using those certain icons or symbols. Okay? Also, iconic are systems of communication in which icons or symbols are used to represent words or linguistic concepts. Iconic systems are a type of augmentative communication. Pandagdag. Okay, not ganyan na ganyan. So, these are some common icons that are being used in our society that dahil hindi ka natuturo at hindi nasusunod, hindi masyadong alam ng mga tao. A good example would be ang dami po mga drivers na should know lots of traffic signs and symbols na hindi nila nasusunod. Bakit po? Because we have not introduced the idea, we have introduced, but we have not integrated iconic systems in education. If we could use iconic system in education, our citizens will be more critical and more, I think, more accepting, and will be able to follow all of this iconic based kind of environmental print. And I think lahat ng atin naman mga environmental print ay highly iconic kasi nga to save space, para direct ang message, iconic talaga ang ginagamit natin. So paano kung hindi sana yung mga bata sa icons sa school? Hindi naman matuturo yan masyado sa bahay. So kung sa school, i-integrate po natin lahat na yan, like composing using icons, di sana naturuan natin ng mga bata how important iconic language is. Right? Next, we have question number 2. How do icons work in the teaching and learning process? Okay, just question number 2 na po tayo. Okay. Sisave po natin. Explain, ito po yung answer po natin. Icons should be easily understood by the audience or our students with as little variance as possible. So, ibig sabihin, dapat direct agad ang message. Hindi yung, ano kayong ibig sabihin yun? Hindi daw maganda yung icon na pag tinignan, nag-isip ka pa ng malalim. Ano yung ibig sabihin yan? Ano kayong, ibig sabihin maraming meaning, na posibleng meaning ang icon na ginamit po natin. If students have to spend any amount of time deciphering it, or if different viewers get different meanings, then the icon is not doing its job. Kung iba-iba ang meaning. So, dapat maganda po na isa lang po ang ibig sabihin po natin na ginagamit ng natin ng icons. And then kung marami ang meaning nun, then it's not effective icon that we're using. A good example would be ito. We know it's stairs. Pero ano ibig sabihin mo niyan? What is that? Are you telling us it's stairs going up or stairs going down? But you lack the symbol arrow, or the arrow symbol, for us to understand what you want us to get from it, from the icon. If you're telling us that this stairs is for going up only, then give me an arrow that is just for going up. Kagaya po ngayon sa pandemic po, ang dami ko pong nakita na pumunta kami one time sa mall. May araw na social ka lang, arrow. May araw naman, guys, arrow. Ganun talaga ang pronunciation. So, sabog niyong sabihin na maarte po. It's how I pronounce it. The management of SM and all other malls came up with a very good system of marking their floors with arrows going to and coming back, and so that people will follow. But because our individuals, our citizens, have not been thoroughly trained, if not thoroughly trained, sila po ay hindi nila nakasanayan na may mga meaning po ang mga symbols na yon at statements nga po yon. Kasi po sila arrow, please, this way please. Going this way please. So, hindi agad nakukuha ng tao. Why? Dahil hindi natin sinama yan sa ating education, sa ating materials, hindi natin sinama yan. So, ang point natin dito is that we need to use icons more and more so that our society, the social media, is using lots, prolifically iconic language or symbolic language. Therefore, we have to use that in our materials because education is there to help our students and our graduates be able to function well and follow the language of the community, or the language of society, and the language of the industry. And if the language of our community and our society only utilizes mostly iconic language, therefore we have to utilize it as well in our learning systems. All right? So, may mga sa mall po, sabi ko minsan ako nagsasabi, ito po ang daanan po, tingnan po natin yung arrow. Tapos later on siguro, nalaman ng mga management na hindi sumusunod yung mga tao dahil social distancing, nagdun sila ng megaphone. Sabi ko, too late. So, dapat kasama, if you're going to introduce a system to education or to a particular community, dapat meron kang education. So, doon nagkakamali tayo. So kaya nga sabi ko, dapat kasama ang iconic language sa education so that we can get and elicit the right responses from our students. So these are the things that we need to be reminded of. The icons must be common or widely used in social media. So kung pipila po tayo mga teachers sa mga icons para cute po sa ating mga presentations online or gumagamit tayo ng icons sa ating modules, so dapat ito po ay most commonly used, tapos ito po yung talaga ang meaning nun. Alright? The meaning of the icon is generally universally known and accepted even if that meaning is not intrinsic in shape. Ibig sabihin, kaya sabi po natin, it should be widely known para isa lang po ang meaning na makukuha ng ating mga estudyante. Make sure your students know what the icon means since this is often based on experience and culture. Good example would be, anong pinagkaiba sa heart sa light? Siguro pag heart is mas malalim na attachment ka, whether on the statement or sa tao. Pero kung like lang, siguro hindi mo kilala masyadong tao, pina-follow mo lang siya, pero naniniwala ka sa sinasabi niya, like ka lang. So I believe the kind of icon that our students will use will depend on their mental and emotional attachment to both idea and the person delivering the idea. And we need to educate our students na hindi lang yung ka-click-click ng icon. We need to know that the icon that you're going to click or the icon you're going to use should match what you actually feel and what you actually think about. Another one would be, nagkakaroon kami ng mga meeting noon, tapos biglang mayroong nag-raise ng hand. So, yung aming facilitator sabi, yes, you would like to ask something? Ay, hindi po. Tinatry ko lang po kasi click ito kasi akala ko kasi kamay po, akala ko po lang, ay hindi. Sabi ko, nag-fail po tayo na mag-orient sa atin attendees na pag nakita nyo po ang icon na kamay, ibig sabihin you're raising your hand, you're asking questions. And if you click the icon na bell, ibig sabihin you would like to request for a break, or ito naman po yung isa ay may yung nagsasalita, ibig sabihin you would like to say something. Kailan nga, again, hindi na orient ang kami, so ibig sabihin hindi nalaman kung ano yung gamit ng mga icons. And my point here is that no matter what we use with the icons, we need to orient our students with the use of the icons, be it online or be it in a module form. All right? Next, we have the chat. Magcha-chat ba sila? Or ito po yung mga ginagamit po namin sa aming online prayers na pag may leader po kami, sinasabi po, please unmute your microphone. So, minsan ang mga tao kasi hindi nila alam kung anong symbol ng mute at saka unmute. So, na-click nila ng 2 beses, di unmute pa rin yun, naka-unmute, tama ba? Ito, unmuted microphone, at a muted microphone. So, dapat in-explain na please put your microphones on mute. To do that, please click this symbol once. Klaro ang instruction. Hindi, okay, unmute, please unmute your microphone. Asan yun? Anong symbol nun? Sana sinasabi nun? Kasi hindi lahat ng tao, hindi naman po lahat ng mga tao ay well-versed with the social platforms. And then, dapat alam ang symbols. I think kids know this, pero again, we have to tell them that by following directions, they will be able to focus more on learning. And then they will be able to respond back to the teacher using the appropriate icons. Kaya ang sabi po natin dito na reminder is, when you are going to use the icons, mag-orient po tayo sa mga bata na itong icons na gagamitin po natin sa online. And then, it must be the icons that we're going to use are the most commonly used icons in most social media platforms. Next, the icons must be easily recognizable. All right, meaning the meaning is obvious without the context of any related text. Generally, because the icon has an easily identifiable shape which represents a real-world object. Halimbawa po, pwede gamitin ng teacher ang libro, ibig sabihin reading time o reading time mga bata, or pwedeng study time. Kailang klaruhin mo, kung ginamit mo ang icon na to for study time, huwag mo na siyang gamitin na icon for another activity like reading. So dapat magkaiba ang icon. Dapat when you use an icon, it must be recognizable to such an activity. Yun lang talaga. Ang tawag po natin doon ay icon association, icon activity association. So we just have to use particularly one icon for a particular activity. Okay? We cannot use the same icon to mean other activities as well. It must be just one-to-one correspondence. A good example would be a pencil would say that ito po ay magsusulat sila. Pero pag ginamit mo siya sa magsusulat, huwag mo na siyang gamitin para sa test. Okay? Next, calculator, solving. Siguro for mathematics could be used for solving. Another one, kunwari ito, a paper and pencil could be quiz. So ginamit mo yung pencil, pero this time around, mayroong element ng paper. Ibig sabihin, hindi na siya writing. Hindi, when you see a paper and a pencil, you mean that you're going to have a quiz or a test. Meron po ganito, ibig sabihin lecture po si teacher. Ito po lahat ay available online. Just search on it. You don't have to create your own icons, but these are already common icons online that are being used in most social media platforms. And then also clock. So pwede po natin i-combine ang mga icons like yung clock, ang clock magkatabi ng calculator. So ibig sabihin po nun ay timed problem solving. Pwede pong nakilagay po natin na clock at saka yung lecture. Pwede pong sabihin natin time lecture or time, clock at saka yung paper pencil. Pwede pong sabihin, ibig sabihin po nun ay time test. So pwedeng tayo mag-combine ng icons to say ibang activity. Alright? So kung wala pong clock, ibig sabihin hindi naman siya timed. Alright? The third and last consideration for us when you're using icons is that the icons must be illustrative. Okay, the icon helps reinforce the meaning of the text. Nagkakadagdag. Remember, it's called augmentative language. So hindi po siya, it should totally replace verbal language, but it should augment the verbal language. Okay, the icon helps reinforce the meaning of the text, but may not be immediately obvious without it. This is especially true with instructional texts where the icons might be combined to show process. Let me give an example. Halimbawa po ito, ang symbol po natin for experimentation in science. Tapos nakalagay po natin, so hindi lang po icons, especially for modules, dapat mag-combine po yung icons at saka yung mga words. So we have the name of the activity para na-associate ng bata ang name ng activity with the logo or the icon. So that's my instruction. Watch as the teacher demonstrates practical ways to conduct home experiments to identify the properties of matter. Okay? What if I show you another one? What is the difference between the activity on top and the activity below with the clock? Yung unang activity po hindi timed, while the other one is timed. Okay? So dito sa baba, dahil may clock, time po siya. Okay, so experimentation, replicate the experiment the teacher demonstrated on the video. Do this activity for 30 minutes. Record your procedures indicating the exact time of conduct. So ibig sabihin, kasama sa kanyang activity ang time elements. Okay, so naiintindihan ng bata, nadadagdagan, it helps the critical and supplement the critical thinking of our students via the augmentation of the icons, okay? And it captures immediately the attention of our students. A lot of our students hate, but if the icons are there to support the words, mas maintindihan po ng bata. And then because we caught their interest already by the pictures because they're highly visual learners, then the better the module is. And the more effective the module is in conveying its meaning without the teacher being present, okay? Let's now proceed to second to the last question. We're almost there, okay? Question 3, how to choose and use icon for teaching and learning. How do we use that? Okay. I could say that the use of icons is limited only by our imagination. So there are a lot of things that we can use the icons, not only for the use of our slides, like I unlimitedly use my avatar for the questions, but it could be used in many things. It could be used here, like I could use my avatar, and then I have my thought bubble, and then I could have statements there. The possibilities are limitless, and the more we use the combination of icons in online presentations and in our modules, the more that we can capture the attention of our students and engage our students in not just in verbal literacy or verbal reading, but also on visual reading as well, or visual understanding. And by combining together, then we would be able to help our students understand what we want them to get and to understand from the lesson itself. On that note, what I'm trying to say is that we have to lessen a lot of words and focus more on the essential information that we would like our students to understand, and then supplement those words with icons. It could be in in a form of tables, it could be in a form of pictures, could be graphics, it could be animated. The point there is that i-combine po natin. Bakit po tayo ang mga bata, they love posters, they have picture books? Because we all love icons. We all love pictures, and the first thing that we are immersed with and exposed to are icons. Hindi pa tayo nakakapagbasa, marami na po tayo nakikita mga logo, icons in our environment. Kasama na po doon ng colors. All right. Define specific icons. So it's very important for us then, if we're going to use certain icons, before online po sana, i-orient mo muna. Meron kasi akong na-attenderan na online classes, diretso agad si teacher nagturo. Sabi ko, dapat tinuruan nyo muna kami kung saan kami mag-click, saan kami lalagay ng comments namin. Tapos later on sinabi na, okay, place your answers now on the answer box. Because saan yung answer box na yun? But hindi man. So before we start our online classes, it's very important for us to orient our students with the icons for responses that we will require them of. So ito ang sinasabi po dito, define a specific icon that is used wherever a particular concept is being discussed. And then use that icon through a particular lesson or added to lighten the tone of the handouts or lend additional encouragement to students as they work. Meaning these icons would help our students be able to minimize a lot of writing, but being able to focus to responses per se. A good example that instead of having true, false, writing the word true, we can have our students just write the icon T and the icon F. Now, we can be more creative. Instead of having the icon T for true, we could have a heart instead, or we can have a check and then a cross mark. The ideas are so limitless. We can use all of those, okay, and becomes more interesting for our students as well. I think that's what's good about iconic language in the teaching and learning. It's because it does not only mitigate the bridge between verbal language and mostly used in school, but also the symbolic language of the social media, but it also helps our students, become more interested in the lesson. If they see some of these icons that have been using in the social media and being used in school and the modules, they would say, I know all of this. I know what it means. Or pwede yung true or false, like at saka yung ganon. Diba? Alright. A good example po natin na all our modules at the Sisters of Mary, bago po kami magsimula ng aming mga modules, meron pa kaming opener page po, nakalagay po doon orientation, how to use the module. Tapos nakalagay po doon na if they see the following icons, ito pong ibig sabihin ng activity na yon. At saka isa lang talaga ang ibig sabihin ng mga icons na yon. So, lesson 1 overview, pag nakita nila po yung ganang icon na yan, it means lesson overview. This serves introduction to the lessons in the module. It will provide you with the learning competencies, and so on and so forth. Then, pag nakita nila yung icon na yan, experimentation po yun. Pag nakita nila yung megaphone, discussion. Pag nakita po nila yung libro, independent study po yun. And then we have pagdalawang kamay, collaboration, and so on and so forth. The point there is that orientation is very important. We can use icons, but if you use, we call them as organic icons. If you use organic icons or icons that are based on the real world pictures, we need to orient our students, especially if they are not commonly used in social media. So kung nag-introduce tayo ng mga bagong icons, especially for the modules, we need to have a page opener where we educate our students how to use the modules and what icons are being used in the module. Kagaya po sa mga libro. All right. So these are the things that we need to use for, we need to think of icons for. One is section markers. At the beginning of the sections, place an icon that helps give students an idea of what the section is about or the kind of section it is, like facts, instructions. So mas maintindihan ng bata ang module na yon kung ang ating section markers po natin or page breaker po natin ay may mga icons or pictures that summarizes the lesson itself. Okay? Kung halimbawa, ang lesson po sa mathematics ay fractions, pwede pong nakalagay doon ay different types of fractions nakalagay sa pictures po natin or mga food na mayroong mga cut, and so on and so forth na may mga fractions. That could help our students understand, so these are the things I'm going to understand. Fractions of a whole, fractions of, whatever. Okay, section markers. It prepares the mind of the students and it makes them think and it makes them more interested. Next, lesson watermark. The lesson watermark is use the icon large and light as a watermark on a page. At a glance, one assignment can often look very much like another, giving it its own icon watermark that allows students to quickly tell the difference between assignments. May mga watermark po nag-iiba-iba. Bakit po maganda po yung lesson watermark? Marami pong, ito po ay kagaya po ng dati na stationery. Di ba yung stationeries dati na na-hook up yung mga bata noon na nagpapalitan sila kasi nga they like the different, it's not just the smell of the stationeries, but also the pictures that they see, the watermark. Tas minsan nga, ayaw nilang sulatan kasi nga gusto lang tatago. Pero if we can have that in our activity sheets para nakita nila yung sana iba yung watermark for science, iba yung watermark for language, para it signals that if they see this watermark, ito yung subject area. Okay? So, icons also help kasi wala nga si teacher. Isipin po natin, wala po si teacher. Ang ating pong mga modules po should also speak the kind of subject or could speak something like the way the teacher would speak in real life. If the icons would help our students, cognitively prepare themselves for the materials, maganda po ang watermark. Ngayon, kung ayaw nyo po maglagay ng watermark, then go for section markers instead, please. Then we have instructions. Pinakita ko sa inyo kanina yung mga icons per activity. So maganda po yung mga instructions. So every activity, the type of activity would have this icon. So we just have to be consistent with the icon of a certain activity. Like collaborative activity, isa lang na icon na yun. For independent activities, activity assessment, isang icon lang po yun. Icons support the mental processing. Research would show that. So kung gumawa tayo ng module, dapat meron po tayong mga icons. Kung wala po masyadong picture at wala po mga icons, it becomes a boring module for our students. If there are no pictures in our presentation, like ito nga, sinampalang pa lang po na wala akong picture, ang boring naman nun, wala mga picture. So it gets boring. So that's why this part of the slide, hindi po ako naglagay ng picture para makita nyo ang difference. Parang ang hirap naman basahin, ang daming babasahin. Kung if there is a picture like yung ganitong presentation, na picture, sorry, kung may ganitong presentation sana ng picture and then instruction, may inganyo ang bata na ay hindi masyadong kasi hindi lang puro words lang, merong picture po. So it's pang siya, pang dilute ng wordy pages. Okay? So sample lang po, yung gumamit din po ako ng graphic organizer. The graphic organizer falls under visual language. Iconic din po siya. So, maganda po yung discussion. Okay, 20 minutes, live online teacher presentation. Listen as your teacher explains the different properties of matter while While your teacher is discussing, take down the most important information presented using the graphic organizer below. So, nakalagay sa module po ng mga bata, tapos kung anong gagawin nila, properties of matter, susulat nila. Pag may color po at saka mga ganyan, intindihan ng bata. Sir, kasi yung aming module po na ginawa namin sa public pool, hindi po siya consumable. Kung gusto hindi po siya consumable, ilagay po natin na write your notes on your activity sheet. So siguro meron na akibat po sana na activity sheet sa mga bata. I know the challenges for the public school out there, especially for the use of icons in the public school, is that you need to have two designs, one for the module for the students and one for the activity sheets. Sa activity sheet kasi dapat consumable. Ang ating module po dapat hindi consumable. So non-consumable po siya, dapat hindi susulatan ng mga bata. So therefore, magkakaroon po tayo ng icon that distinguishes the two materials. Okay? Yung nasusulatan at hindi nasusulatan. Finally, the last question. How can visual icons promote literacy among our students? Okay, so just a quick answer to that. Hindi ako nakahabot ng aking time. Gamitin po natin yung ating example kanina. Okay, so we can teach our students creating sentences, or we can talk about this by grouping all of these icons and starting our students, talking about this or creating sentences out of it, which promotes literacy. So iconic languages or iconic discussion po. Let's have an example. Halimbawa, ito po yung mga sample po natin kaninang simulan natin. Gamitin po natin sa promoting literacy. So we can use these pictures by grouping them together and then helping our students come up with statements like, okay, we have the SM logo and we have an escalator going up to the second floor, and then we have Jollibee. Since directionally po natin ay left to right, so yan po ay isang idea or sentence. So create sentence out of this. So pwede pong pwede po si sister agad ang inano ko nung kasi nasa Sister St. Mary. Si teacher po ay sasabihin na, okay, I'll give you an example. Go to Shoe Market Mall or SM, take the escalator to the second floor, and there you will find Jollibee fast food outlet. So pwedeng ganun po ang statement po. Or there's a Jollibee fast food outlet on the second floor of SM. So the creation of a statement or discussion out of the three icons is limitless. Okay, pwede mo sabihin na I went to the second floor of SM and I found Jollibee there. Okay, or the Jollibee put up an outlet in the second floor of SM. Ang dami po nating limitless ideas and statements na pwede po, and becomes a game. So sabihin, okay guys, kids, come up with statements. So pwedeng online po yan. Sabihin nyo na, okay, gumawa kayo ng statements out of this. Or pwede pong lagay sa module on sentence creation ng mga bata, na composition creation po. We call this as icon prompted composition. Ang ganda, di ba? Engganyo pa mga bata. Common pa sa kanilang mga pictures. Also, ito pa yung tinitrain ko po sa mga early literacy teachers. Like, provide them with a focus letter and then present those letters to them and then give a picture prompt or icon prompt. So, alam mo sila po ay, alangan mangoes ang nilagay mo na word tapos isa lang nilagay mo. O di, mali ang concept. So, dapat nagmamatch po yung word sa icons, the concept of the icons representing. So, pwede natin turuan mga bata na choose words to create sentences, give them the picture. Okay? So they can say, Molly loves mangoes. Nakangiti siya eh. Tapos pwede natin palitan po later, maglagay tayo ng another picture. Yung mouse naman doon, since babae naman siya, mga ribbons, mga icons, babae, ganyan. Okay? Tapos yung all of these features. So tingnan po natin balik tayo. Okay kids, tingnan po natin yung first picture natin. It's a what? It's a mouse. Is it a male or female mouse? Oh, sir, kasi meron po siyang ribbon sa taas. Usually, babae lang po. So, babae po siya. Okay, let's look at the word box. Mary, Molly, bowl of fruits, mangoes, loves, hates. Which of these words, okay, pertain to names of people? Mary, Molly. Oh, Matty and Molly po, sir. Okay, from the two words Mary and Molly, which of these two words or two names would be for girls? Maddie or Molly? Molly po. All right, Molly. Let's look at Molly's face. Is she happy or sad? Happy po, sir. Okay. Which of the words loves, hates would describe the face? Loves po. All right, loves. How many? What do you call these fruits? Mango. How many mangoes are there? Let's count. 1, 2. Oh, there are 2 mangoes. So let's put their mangoes. Molly loves mangoes. So na-facilitate po ang via pictures, may meaning na agad ang bata, and then pinatranscend po natin ang mga pictures to words and then to sentences. Okay? Another one is we can tell stories using animated graphics. So like, again, directionality po natin, ang direction po natin ay left to right. Therefore, pag ginawa po natin ng animation ang words po natin, it must be wiping from left to right. So, there was a hen. There was a hen. And then we have, it was a red hen. Ayan. Red na po siya na kinikilig. Alright. And then we can also use icons or the use of pictures by introducing the characters in the story, like the story of the 3 little pigs. We could say that this is the first little pig, we have the second little pig, and we have the third little pig. So it could be introduced also in stories, iconic in style. So it augments the story itself. We can also have icons like pictures, and we have again directional for it. The first little pig built his house, and so on and so forth. All right? So, continue lang po natin. So, pwede po natin gamitin siya sa stories, especially for online and then for modules. So, sa modules sana, yun din po ang pagkagawa natin sa module. Then, bigger picture, especially for the early grades, bigger pictures, tapos direct to the point words. Hindi po kagaya ng dati na mga bata, ang ating mga stories na binibigyan sa mga bata ay full prose po, hindi maingganyo talaga ang batang magbasa sa bahay. By using pictures and icons, I can facilitate our students, liking to read. So that's why icons facilitate literacy as well. All right, on this point, I will now be accepting comments and questions from you teachers out there so that I can answer them. So Jillian, do you have questions?
Yes po, brother. So let us proceed to the question and answer portion. So our
Yes.
first question is from Rosemary Alejandro. Do
Hi,
kids
Rosemary.
learn better with pictures po?
Yes, actually, research showed that literacy development is highly acquired by our students with prompts of pictures, not just pictures per se, but also the use of short films, videos. All of this facilitate literacy development and comprehension because remember that when we comprehend, we create mental pictures. By pictures, it helps our students create the mental picture that certain words would give us. So it facilitates easy understanding of information. So if on that case, on that premise, therefore our materials should have pictures as well, at least to facilitate comprehension of and literacy development of the materials that we are making our students understand.
Thank you, brother. Our next question is from Christine Salve Manal. Should different subject teachers use similar icons to facilitate consistency?
Again. Oh well, yes, I get that. Yes, if for consistency of information of the icons, the educational system must come up with its own icon. Yun po, ang social media like Facebook kung meron silang sariling consistent use of the icons. Kung gagawa po tayo ng modules, dapat po sana ang ating educational system would come up with our own icons na magagamitin sa buong Pilipinas para consistent po talaga ang gamit. Otherwise, kung every teacher will create their own icons and then hindi nagmamatch sa ibang icons, paano kung gumamit ang isang teacher sa school na to ng icon na to, tapos itong gamit niya sa activity, pero pagdating sa high school, may siya ng school, tapos ginamit yung icon in a different activity, ang bata medyo nagkakaroon ng confusion. So if we could only come up with, sana ito pong ginawa noon, since nagmo-modular po tayo sa field, sana naglabas po kung hindi man sa central office, at least division level, if not division level, regional level, para there's consistency use of the icons. Otherwise, ang bata din po ang maguguluhan sa different use of icons. Paano kung bawat subject area ay gumamit ng the same icons, pero iba ang pagkakagamit, din walang consistency. So tama po I think that was not a question, ma'am, that you asked me. I think you are just giving me giving out your comment na, sir, dapat consistent po talaga ang gamit ng icons ng all teachers. That's true. It must be consistently used by the educational system. So hindi pwedeng kasi like private school may kanya-kanya. Dapat naglabas po nag-usap-usap po dapat ang mga educational experts or EPS po ng division or ng region na para ito po dapat ang mga consistent use of our icons. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Our next question is from Ralph Norte. What do you think is the disadvantage of iconic language using icons in an online class?
Well, a lot of confusion would happen, especially if our students are not have been oriented with the icons. It would also facilitate miscomprehension and misunderstanding of the icons. And if they are not used appropriately in its layout, yung tamang pagkaka-layout ng dapat left to right, tapos yung balancing. So hindi ko lang diniscuss yung other elements of visual grammar kasi hindi siya kasama sa aking talk. So dapat visual literacy talaga ang susunod na topic or visual grammar. Ang balancing, magkukos po ng confusion sa bata. Remember that the pictures, the icons augment our lesson. So hindi dapat mas nangingibabaw yung icons o nangingibabaw ang pictures. The idea of iconic language is it augments, okay? It augments messages, it augments verbal messages. Therefore, it must be laid out in such a way na the students would use only the icons to support his understanding of, say, the instructions in the activity, and so on and so forth. Hindi dapat nag-aaway yung dalawa at hindi dapat hindi po na super powerful po ang pictures. Ang nangyari po, naging ano lang siya, more of story pictures than of, the lesson itself. Thank you.
And our last question is from Lord Lena. What if the lesson is about reproduction po? Possible po ba na mareklamo ako kung may pictures related sa lesson na yan? Salamat po.
Kung reproduction po naman, we can still use pictures, pero yung pictures na may mga may mga masiselan na bagay po, siguro hindi na po natin ipapakita sa pictures. Words na po natin siya. So, not too graphical. Kaya sinasabi natin, nung question natin, is this too much information for my students? One of the things that, na maganda po sa pag-use ng icons is that it could also augment. Sabi ko kanina, it could augment the distraction. But if it could destroy what we want our students to understand, like, hindi na nakafocus dahil nilagay natin yung picture na yon, yung genital na yon doon sa picture, nawala na yung attention ng bata sa lesson kasi napunta na lang siya sa na-mesmerize na siya doon sa genital na yan. Hindi po tama ang gamit ng icon. Remember, augment po siya. It does not distract the lesson, distract the attention distract the attention of our students away from the lesson. So if we think that, pag nilagay ko to, makatulong ba to, makaka-distract? So these are the questions we need to ask ourselves, would this support or would this distract? If it would distract, then we should not put there. So may mga pictures po na pwede po natin, like yung ovary, di naman nakikita. Pero kung papakita pa natin yung penetration, hindi na siya maganda. So tatanggalin po natin yung mga pictures na graphically would show what the words could mean. So instead of showing the graphical, let's just na lang na wala pong graphics yung mga parts na to sa reproductive discussion or reproductive organs or reproduction. Tapos words na lang po siya. Let the students come up with their own pictures, mental pictures, instead of showing the pictures. Thank you.
Thank you so much, brother. That's all the questions we have for now. Any last reminders for our viewers today po?
Okay, so I have this reminders though. Just 2 slides, I think 3 slides. Yeah, 2 slides lang pala, okay? One important note about using icons is to try keeping their styles consistent. Ito yung tanong kanina lang, ma'am. Consistent po dapat. Not just in a single handout or assignment, but in your class in general, or in the school in general, or in the education system in general, for consistent use of the language, okay? And then we have, as with choosing a type of voice, pag sinabi natin type of voice, ito yung mga icon styles, ito yung sinasabi po natin na font styles, font colors, type of voice po yan. Iba po ang ibig sabihin na bold na letters ang word. Halimbawa, sinabi po natin na keep silent. Iba po yung small letters na keep silent, ang meaning nun, ibang voice nun sa voice ng keep silent na all capital letters. Okay? So, nag-iba ang meaning nun. So, naiintindihan ng bata, ay, talagang seryoso ang dapat silent ako kasi naka-bold po. So, meron, yung voice ng teacher is extended to the way we lay out the words and the font style that we use. So mixing too many different icon styles can start to look visually noisy on the page. So pag sobrang dami ng mga pictures na distracting na, so it's noise already. When starting out with icons, it's generally best to pick a single consistent source with similar icon styles. So pabalik po tayo, sinasabi po natin, consistency ulit of the use of the icons. And finally, today, icons and symbols are used more widely for environmental uses like wayfinding, like traffic symbols, in user interfaces, and for communicating information to a more universal audience. Their existence in the semiotic domain demonstrates the need for well-designed standard symbols and icons that can simultaneously address the requirements of the audience for my direct comprehension and learning. So I think right now, because our students are learning at home and we'll be using online platforms, it would be nice that our teachers are given like a vocabulary list of icons na itong gagamitin nila pag ginamit nila, anong ibig sabihin nun. Kung meron po tayong diksyonaryo para sa mga salita, dapat meron din pong ginagawa ang ating Department of Education diksyonaryo ng mga icons for consistent use of the icons. Otherwise, makakasira lang po ang paggamit ng icons ng kanya-kanya sa field kaysa makatulong sa mga estudyante. On that note, thank you very much for listening, and I hope you realize the power and the negative effects of using icons if not used properly. And I hope that we get to realize that icon language or iconic language has its most useful part in the module development and in the and online materials development. With that, I hope that we get to be more interested in iconic language, and you get to research all about iconic language and how they are used in education. And you can research that online, and you will find a plethora of readings on it. In fact, you don't have to read those. There are a lot already of icons ready out there that you can use. But then again, as I said, sana consistent po ang gamit natin. Kung ito pagkakagamit sa social media, let's not use it otherwise. Okay, thank you very much. And I hope I could see you. Let's see each other again on Wednesday when I talk about other topics. I forgot my topics on that, but I'll be talking on Wednesday night and then on Friday. So I hope to see you to continue on. This is our what we call as a second bout of our school preparations here webinar series. Thank you very much. Good afternoon.
There we have it. In behalf of VIBAL Group Incorporated, I would like to thank our speaker for today for this very eye-opening and insightful learning session. It is an honor to have you with us today, brother. And to all our VIBAL viewers, all thanks to you for your continuous patronage to our daily learning session. Don't forget to register to get your e-certificate of participation. We also encourage you to subscribe and watch on our official Vival Facebook and YouTube channel. Muli, maraming salamat